So, as I mentioned yesterday, the process of eye making is our operating system without the disc. So it's running all the time, and at many different levels of our psyche, of our being. So just having an intellectual understanding is not quite enough. Even though a lot of the eye-making process is working at the conceptual level, but there are deeper levels to it. So that's why the development of spiritual exercises is, you can say, necessary if you're interested in full enlightenment, complete freedom from eye-making, or do you feel lonely? Of course, this is presuming that you have enough eye-making already, because it is, to a certain degree, a certain amount of eye is necessary, to function in life. You have to recognize, when you're hungry and when you need to rest, and but most of the time we're so caught up with it, it kind of takes over. It kind of possesses us. You only need a certain amount of eye making, you can say, just enough to be, compos mentis, to have enough awareness to know what's happening in your body-mind, you see. But it tends to take over, and then it becomes to occupy our life or imprison us in this process. So spiritual exercises, as most of you know, Buddhist practice, morality, meditation, wisdom. Presumably you know about morality already. Very, very simply, immorality supports eye-making. I don't like you, so I'll kill you. I like those things, so I'll steal them. Just reinforces eye-making. Whereas practicing morality, it's self-sacrifice. I don't like you, but I'm so generous and kind to let you live. A lot of self-sacrifice there, isn't it? Even though you're a great annoyance, but to me, of course. We only see the world through ourselves, you see, so we judge everything, all the values are judged by me. What's right and wrong, what's good, what's bad. But the world doesn't always live up to our expectations. The world is as it is. And then being able to maintain a certain degree of morality supports meditation practice. In Buddhism, meditation is calm and insight meditation. So I won't say too much about this, because I mentioned, I think a few retreats is all about calm and insight. But basically, calm meditation is developing focused attention, which gives rise to, when it's developed, to concentration and increasingly calm levels of mind. In the initial levels of calm, the eye-making process slows down at least. Because as I mentioned, a lot of at least the activity of eye-making is conceptualizing, thinking about yourself. So as you focus on something like breathing, this thinking process quietens down, so there's less self-reference there. And very, very deep states of concentration, eye-making is even suspended. There's nobody there, just breathing. No breather, just breathing. However, there still is these background programs running, even though you can't notice, and we only notice those active ones, but it requires insight meditation to see through right back to the very core of the operating system. So insight meditation, developing mindfulness or awareness, you can develop this to a very, very refined degree that could begin to notice this background operating system. Maybe you need a new program to notice what's running in the background. I've got one on my computer. I forget what it is now, but but you don't even know this stuff is operating until you get this special app, you see, and then it tells you what's going on in the background. But so the development of insight meditation, I mean, it's a very, there's a lot of details to it, but I'll just mention it in the context of eye making, to try to observe when the thought I arises. Okay, everybody still here? I am still here. So it's very simple to say, but maybe not quite so easy to do, because, as I say, it's always going on. It's such a familiar habit, we don't even pay attention to it. But with some degree of calmness of mind, maybe the processes are not so many, not so diverse. We're in a quiet environment, so there's not a lot of stimulation, ideally. And developing more awareness of that possibility. Lots to be aware of, isn't there? You come to the forest here, and you start listening to the birds, and I don't know what you do, but but maybe there's still a few thoughts going on about yourself, huh? Maybe. But this requires the ability to modulate calmness of mind. Basically, if your mind isn't calm enough, there's too much activity going on, and it's very easy to get pulled into it. A thought arises, is that eye making? I wonder if that's eye making. Maybe it's not eye making. You're just thinking about eye making. You're not observing it. On the other hand, if your mind is too calm, there's no thoughts arise. So, you need to be able to modulate it. Sometimes your mind can seem to be calm, but when memory pops up, and then triggers off lots of eye associations. But we use the breathing as the main focus for attention, and with the breath, you can observe how clear is the breathing, for example. How calm is the breathing? And you get some idea how your mind is then. How clear your mind is, how calm your mind is. And basically we need a certain, mind has to be calm enough and clear enough to just observe the thought I arising. Doesn't matter what it's associated with, but whenever you notice I, say, if you can try and observe, what's behind it, a memory pops up, and then a little voice says, "Oh, I like that. Aha, there I am. I like." Yeah? Or some other thought comes up, and I think. Oh, there's another I there. How many eyes are there anyway? I only have one passport, but there's so many different eyes. 1 second you're liking, 1 second you're thinking. And I won't go into all the details, but there's probably a few more there too. But the point is to be able to just observe it as it's happening, without a non-judgmental awareness of what's going on there. No expectations. You don't even need to expect, a special eye popping up and saying you're wonderful. Whatever, or the opposite maybe, but just observe without any expectations, no judgment, just observe. There, just like you're walking around here observing the plant life or something, just observing. There's that kind of flower, that kind of bush, and if you can do that, but if there's the right amount of calm, the right degree of clarity, you notice. You don't have the mind doesn't jump in with all the expectations or judgments. So we use the breathing as a test, as it were. As we focus on the breathing, the more you focus on it, basically the more the mind calms down. Then you can use the breathing as an object of awareness too. As the mind calms down, the breathing becomes more calmer. You have to look more carefully, trying to observe the process of breathing, inhalation and then exhalation. And then occasionally turn it to your activity of mind. That's where you'll probably notice I making the easiest, the thoughts that are rising. I this, I that, I the other. So, easy? I mean, understand? Now we're trying to put it to practice. So if we take up a reasonably comfortable sitting position, and to experience if the body is in a comfortable position, try to bring your attention to sensation. That's how we know body directly. Sensation, the sense of touch of the body. So the weight of the body on the cushion, the chair, how your legs or ankles are placed. Can you sense them? Rather than just think about them, can you actually sense how your legs are placed right now? Pressure. And observing if it's reasonably comfortable. Is there any discomfort there? Or how do you experience comfortable? Is the back straight and upright, but not tense or tight? The neck is reasonably relaxed. And once the body is reasonably comfortable, that means the sensations are not strong in the body. You bring your attention to the sensation, particular sensation of breathing at the nostrils or anywhere else in the body where you can observe this breathing process. Inhalation followed by exhalation. Of course, if your body is uncomfortable, you will find it harder to find the subtle sensation of breathing. So you need to keep checking in that the body is comfortable, maybe even adjusting or even changing your posture. And we use this sensation of natural breathing as a focus for attention. Attention has, for most people, has the habit of wandering. But we just try to settle it on the breathing. If you notice the attention wandering to sounds outside, or other sensations in the body, or thoughts, memories, just gently turn back to the breathing. Trying to establish a continuity of focus on the breathing as best we can. And then see if you can observe, just for the moment in general, the condition of your mind right now. For example, is the breathing reasonably clear to you? Or is it a bit faint, distant, cloudy? Probably indicates your mind is a bit cloudy too. A bit dull, a bit sleepy. And maybe we need to find ways to wake up a bit more. You can open your eyes, you can try to straighten your posture, give a little bit more attention to the inhalation, which generally is more energizing. And can you follow the sensation of breathing with some reasonable degree of continuity? Or do you notice the mind drifting off or being distracted by thoughts, memories, plans, whatever? First we just observe that condition of mind, and then sometimes we just have to allow the mind to unwind a bit. Other times it can be more useful to put a bit more energy into focus. Rein the mind in, draw the mind in. Just breathing, just breathing. If you notice the mind is reasonably calm, just maybe turn your attention to any mental activity going on. Can you observe this I within that? I think, I feel, I want, I like, whatever. If you find yourself getting drawn into it, into the story, let's go back to the breathing again. Of course, there are some variations of I, like my body hurts or something. There's my and mine, I, me. It's not really me, it's just my body. So trying to follow the breathing process, inhalation followed by exhalation. To sharpen awareness, we try to observe the breathing from the beginning of the inhalation through to the end of the inhalation. And a slight pause, beginning of the exhalation through to the end of the exhalation. And if your attention wanders off, turn attention back to breathing and re-engage with it wherever you find it. And the breathing is happening continuously, so we just reconnect with it. So the other formal exercise can be helpful to help change the posture and also broaden your repertoire of exercises is walking meditation. So in the walking meditation, the principle is somewhat similar to sitting, except we change the focus of attention to the sensation of feet touching the ground. When you're walking, the most obvious sensation is feet touching the ground, right? If you're walking, not flying, walking. So it requires a little bit of changing the object, but the principle is still the same. We just use this and this object of focusing on the sensation of feet touching the ground as the main focus for attention. However, when you're walking, it's helpful to have your eyes open so you don't trip over something or step on a snake. So it requires maybe a little bit more focus in a way. But since the sensation of feet touching the ground is generally stronger than the breathing, it kind of compensates. And to help with the focusing, it can be useful to have a walking path. A familiar place you walk back and forth on. If you go out walking around the forest, you have to look a lot more where you're going and what's the changing environment. So you need to look outside a lot more. But if you have a path to walk back and forth on, maybe in the beginning you have to observe carefully where you're walking, that you don't stumble on something. But you walk back and forth, half a dozen times, and you recognize the path now. So you can more or less disengage from observing, looking outside, and then use that energy to look inside more. So about 30 paces is average, but depends upon your physical condition and your state of mind. Sometimes from my own experience, sometimes my mind would like a bit more spaciousness. So I prefer a more open space, a longer walking path. Other times the mind benefits by a little bit more confined space, less open space and less steps. And generally I just say walk at a normal pace, whatever that is. Ask your body what's normal. And if your body is restless and your mind is restless, then maybe you walk a bit quicker. Other times, if you're lazy, you walk slower. But be able to adjust the conditions to your state of mind, you see. Just give you an average. So we start off at the beginning of a path, designate the path generally, roughly where you're going. It is reasonably clear. And, I generally find that a flat place is more useful, but sometimes maybe a little bit of a hill would be helpful to, give you some exercise, work up an appetite, if you had too much breakfast. But generally, we want to just be able to focus on the sensation of feet touching the ground rather than have to, build our muscles walking uphill or something. But some distractions maybe are useful sometimes. We can get too kind of familiar with it and just kind of drop into, I'm doing walking meditation. Blah, 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 blah. But having a path like this too is helpful because, you walk your 30 steps and then you have to stop. So you can collect yourself. Your mind's still walking maybe, but you're stopped. So collect yourself in standing position. Bring attention back to the body. Now the body's standing there, the body relaxed. You turn around and then you walk back again to the other side. Come to 30 steps or so and stop. You can turn around first or just collect yourself first, turn around and walk again. Back to the other side. And, there's nowhere to go. exercises. We aren't trying to get anywhere, especially, but trying to focus attention on the sensation of feet touching the ground. And sometimes the mind might go out to there's other sensations, the wind blowing on your face, or the sun shining on your head or something. But just you notice that, but back to the sensation of feet touching the ground again. That's the most consistent sensation if you're walking. So we walk back and forth, trying to, again, focus our attention on this particular sensation. Whatever comes up, the mind wanders, whatever thoughts, back to this sensation again. And if there is, if your mind is calm enough, just see if there is thoughts of I arising. Sometimes they're more practical. I have come to the end of the path. Stop. Other times there might be other things come up. Oh, this sun's too hot. I'm going to have heat stroke. Maybe not today, but or I'm getting so tired or something. Yeah, we're just trying to observe the various expressions of I. Yeah, and I mean just to, not to be too complicated about it. There's quite a few different expressions, but just see how you go with observing, increasing your awareness with regard to I, me, mine. Like I mentioned, there are a few variations maybe, my body's getting tired, He just said to watch I, right? So you sneak around and say mine. There's no I, it's just me. Sometimes our eye can be very clever too, you see. So then there's also the informal exercises, I can say. I think I mentioned yesterday too. You try and focusing attention on a meditation object, awareness. These are universal qualities. They don't just apply to being in the meditation hall. These formal exercises, maybe they're kind of an artificial environment to help you, recognize those qualities more deeply or clearly. And when you sit here with your eyes closed and in a quiet place, it's easier to observe the breathing than when you're walking around. But still try to observe the breathing. Try to develop to increase the development of focused attention. When you're walking around, when you're eating, when you're doing the active meditation. Those would be a little bit more challenging, but it's useful to be more flexible and adaptable applying these exercises, not just to a limited set of postures, for example, or places or whatever exercises, but of course maybe the intensity isn't the same. When you reduce the sensory input with your eyes closed in a quiet place, maybe you are able to observe more intensely or clearly what's going on. But, when you step outside this familiar environment, you can still keep those qualities going. It kind of reinforces them. And continuity is very supportive of concentration as well as awareness. If we allow our mind to start wandering again, we create that habit of wandering mind rather than focused mind. So for the next, what is it, till 9:30, is it? Or 9 o'clock, only.
Or 9 to 10 to do walking or sitting as well.
Yeah. So till lunchtime, well, even lunchtime. So then at 10 o'clock, it's lunch eating meditation. Chewing, tasting meditation. But we just change the posture, we'd say, from walking to eating. So you can make your own schedule, as it were, in a way, to adjust according to your own bodily condition. If you aren't used to sitting a lot, maybe you have to alternate half an hour sitting, half an hour walking or something. But you have to listen to the body, that the body is comfortable, not stressing the body, especially in a very short time like this. And I guess there's no bell, is there, at 10 o'clock, so there just is the smells.
The rumbling stomach.
Yeah. For most people, it won't be rumbling at 10 o'clock probably, but you might hear ours, maybe. So then the schedule continues, and in the afternoon is active meditation for those who are doing the outdoor work, is it? I think, yeah. And then it's 3 to 5, it's sitting walking around here, I guess is better, huh? Yeah. So all clear so far? Yeah. You have all clear, lots of insight, vipassana, or not quite that clear yet? Getting there. Tomorrow.